Greetings. Welcome to the fourth Really Useful podcast. We are being very kindly hosted by Make Use Of this week, and we're here with more useful news and useful tips for you to make better use of your tech. I'm Christian Cawley, and with me is Gavin Phillips. Hi, Gavin.
Hey, Christian. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. You?
Very well, yeah. Good day. Good sunshine, full day.
Yeah, cool and crisp here. You?
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, bit dark at the moment, hence the lighting. It's kind of slightly washed out. You've got a nice mood thing going on, obviously.
Yeah. I took a few minutes to really make myself look very beautiful for the audience. But yeah, it's been a delightful day down here in Cornwall.
Yeah, they don't know how lucky they are, do they?
No.
Okay, so if this is your first time with the Really Useful podcast, you can find us on iTunes for the previous shows. And the idea is simple. There are websites and podcasts and videos that give you tech tips for techies. We're not for techies. We're for people who don't really get tech, people who don't want to get tech. We're here to make it easy for you, whether you are 9 or 90. You just want your tech to work for you. The idea is that's what we're here to do. We help you sort that out. We are live on YouTube at the moment, and we will, wherever possible, answer any questions that you might have. Hello, Rafael Fernandez, and everyone else who's watching right now. I'm hoping more and more people come via Twitter and Facebook in the next few minutes. But, we're going to crack on regardless. You'll be able to watch the show, I dare say. That's usually what happens, isn't it? You can usually catch up and rewatch them later on. And we will be issuing this as an audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify and all those other fantastic places where you can find us, thanks to the excellent hosting at Anchor, which is absolutely free, and that I'm not being paid to say that. I'm really impressed with the Anchor podcast service. So, Gavin, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, can do. Well, we mainly noticed in the news this week that Spotify has updated and is launching its Endless Artist Radio, and that's a new feature coming to the premium subscription. I think it's mainly to fend off the growing competition from Apple Music and the rest of the on-demand music services that are sort of circling and taking little bites out of Spotify's market share. But the new premium features sort of integrate more of the stuff that brings you the weekly personalized playlist and bringing that into like a personalized search. So rather than the general search page that you used to end up on, you type a song and you'd get every single song of that name that's ever existed. Now you search for a song and it gives you songs that you might actually quite enjoy. So if you searched for Hallelujah, you would get different songs of the same genre rather than the 47 different cover versions of Hallelujah, which I think is, as it's meant to do, it's really going to streamline your search capabilities.
The Spotify thing, I don't use Spotify a lot. I'm an Amazon Music because it's just convenient, because I've got a lot of Amazon devices around the house. When it was my sister who first told me about Spotify, and I was absolutely blown away by how fast it got so big.
Yeah.
I think it was 2015. That sounds about right. Yeah, 2015, early 2015. I first heard about Spotify.
Yeah,
from my sister, and it was big then, and I had no idea how big it was. And then it just around the same time, that sort of 12 to 18 months after that, it got absolutely huge.
Yeah, according to Statista, it's 83 million paying customers, which is,
whoa.
I mean, that's a serious amount of customers, considering, like we're saying, there are so many market options now, and especially, like you said, with Amazon, because so many people buy into the Amazon Prime subscription, you think more people would switch over and start using it as they're paying for it anyway. Yeah. But I think, and myself included, I pay for both because I prefer Spotify's range of music. But yeah, it's interesting they've finally started to streamline search, because it's something that a lot of people have wanted for quite a long time. Within that, they've also changed their artist radio features, so you can right-click on an artist, and it plays you a variety of songs relating to the artist or a specific song, and that's now going to be more specialized and personalized to your music tastes, rather than just sort of playing random songs and dotting through genres. And by the end of it, by the time you've done about 20 or 30 songs, you're sort of a bit off genre, and you've drifted off, and you're starting to get stuff that's a bit terrible. So I think it's gonna make it a lot better.
Well, hopefully also this will help up the game for Apple, perhaps, and also particularly for Amazon, as I mentioned, because I'm just going to, this is something that happened I've tried already today, just because I like the track and I like the artist. And I have an Amazon Music subscription. Now, this is what happened, okay? Alexa, play Chiquita by Aerosmith.
Chiquita by Aerosmith on Amazon Music.
Now, that's not what happened earlier on. Alexa, stop. What happened earlier today was that I was told that I couldn't listen to Chiquita by Aerosmith because it's not in my music library.
Oh,
yes, it is. I have a subscription. So, little things like that, they need to improve. I know it works now, and I can't listen to it now because I'm talking to you. But that's the sort of thing that they need to improve, Amazon. But that's fantastic for Spotify users. It's absolutely great. Yeah. Okay, I should have done a little recap earlier, so I'm going to do that now. So we're going to do a couple of news items that will be relevant to you. Then we've got a tip for you, and quite a good tip as well if you're an Android user or an Amazon Fire tablet user. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to look at some useful tech. We thought we'd bring in a visual element to this podcast. So I've got an item that I want to share with you, and Gavin also has an item that he's brought along with him from one part of his house to another, which he wants to share. And just to emphasize the benefits of these items, regardless of how much they cost, but kind of really for productivity and convenience, because that really is one of the main things that we're interested in. Now, so we're going to move on, and I think, I'm going to let you do the Twitter thing because you highlighted it, and then I'll do the third thing.
Yeah, sure. So Twitter have, if you use Twitter, you know what a kind of a cesspit it can become at times.
God, yeah.
There's a lot of good in Twitter as well. I mean, I use it every day to find new security and tech news, and it's one of those tools. It depends on how you use it. You can make the best of it, or you can find the worst of it. But Twitter are taking more note of the fact that a lot of people are starting to report on the things that break the rules of Twitter. And the people who report them want to know that action is actually being taken, and that their reports are actually going to somewhere. So from now on, if you report a tweet and Twitter deems it to be sufficiently rule-breaking, it will now state, this tweet is no longer available because it violated the Twitter rules. And within that, there will also be a link to the Twitter rules, so there's no excuse not to read them. So if it is a tweet that you have posted that has been flagged as a violation, you can get to grips with what you've done or allegedly done. And it should hopefully make people a little bit more aware about what they're tweeting and, how it's affecting other people. The flip side of that is you can use it for a tool just to shout down people. So it remains to be seen how Twitter are going to sort of, in my mind, police that in the long run. You can already use, and we've seen on platforms like YouTube in the past, those heavy campaigns where people just pile in on a single video to get it taken off if they don't agree with it. So it's a form of censorship in that sense. So it remains to be seen how it will actually work out. But I mean, if they're bringing it to the forefront and making people more aware of the rules of the platform, maybe you'll see a decrease in the kind of worst aspects of it. So
it's kind of, it feels like not before time to be dealing with those types of problems, doesn't it? So one of the things we just been brought to my attention, just going back a moment, is if uttering the word Alexa over loudspeakers is prone to set up other people's devices. So we have a comment from Rob Nightingale of makeuseof.com. to that effect. So sorry about that.
He said, "Don't do it again, please."
Yeah, I won't do it again. Twitter. I've do you know what? I've lately, for years, I've just not bothered with the report things on Twitter. But as things tend to get, in politically, on both sides of all political debates, people tend to be taking increasingly extreme positions. And, one solution is just to switch off your phone and go and do something else. Another solution is to maybe try and this is something I've only just started to do, and that is to report messages. And I feels a bit telltale, but at the same time, if we're trying to foster a better way of doing Twitter, I think it's kind of important to at least consider doing it from time to time. So these are good changes.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's times where you see stuff, and it is obviously, hateful content or similar, and it is it's an obvious thing where you feel like you should report it if it's directly attacking someone in a really awful way. I think there's a lot of stuff that you do kind of need to leave up there to allow conversation to flourish, And as we saw with the Google, the good sensor leak last week, those internal conversations that companies are now having about how they actually actively police this whilst allowing conversation to happen. And it's a massive internal debate that these companies are having to have, all the while introducing these products into the public. So there's no sort of boundary for them to get it wrong, or else everybody jumps on them. So it's a complete learning curve all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. It's as I say, it does feel a bit telltale, but it really needs to. If Twitter's to survive, and if that mode of live conversation is to survive, there does need to be something in place. It might not be the best way of doing it, but I think it's probably the best way that's come along so far. So
yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on now. Just start updating the show notes. So everything we've talked about so far, you should be able to find in YouTube, just below the video. And I'm just going to confirm that for you. Well, it's not there yet, but I'm sure it'll appear later. We will have show notes published, and they will be available in the old on the iTunes podcast listing as well when we go audio only in a few hours' time. Right, so let's get this next thing going, which is something I found, and it is, although there is a lot of sort of UK-esque stuff about this, Make Use Of is an international site. We both contribute to Make Use Of, and the Really Sure podcast isn't bound by location, only in terms of who's talking. Just so happens that Gavin and I are both in the UK. Some of our other team members, we've got Ben Stegner, who's in the USA, and we've got Ian Buckley, who's British, but he's in Germany. So, yeah, covering all bases there.
Truly global.
Yeah, totally, slightly quarter north hemisphere global. Yeah. But British shoppers have been deceived by misleading Amazon product reviews, found a study by the British consumer magazine, which is a great publication, which has done sterling work for consumer rights over the past 30 years, if not more, here in the UK. And, the thing about this is it isn't only British customers that have been duped by reviews on Amazon. They basically purchased 5 items and wrote reviews for them as instructed. The chosen people. 3 out of the 5 purchases were not refunded. In 2 cases, the reviews were not considered positive enough, which gave one of the promoted products, a smartwatch, a 2-star review and did not receive a refund of the purchase price. And the Amazon seller told them to rewrite the review because in the case of a free item given to reviewers, it is the default to give 5-star evaluation. This whole thing has turned into a kind of rackety sort of underground industry around Amazon and eBay as well, whereby people are given the opportunity, joining Facebook groups, sort of bidding on reviews and getting free hardware for good reviews. And it skews the results and it makes it appear that a piece of tat is absolutely fantastic. Have you ever been caught out with one of these, Gavin?
Well, a fake review on Amazon. I can't think I have not on Amazon. I definitely have on other sites.
Mhm.
I can't think of a specific Amazon example, but you definitely read through them and you can see some of the reviews are just so glowing. And I always find it's the ones that actually make specific reference to a huge range of features that a specific item has, and they're very, very detailed about specific, say, dimensions or power aspects and this and that. And they the ones that seem kind of overbearing, scripted, you might say, always with a 5-star. So yeah, you can see how it happens. You can see how people are easily duped as well, because they're there and they're prominent, aren't they? So
yeah, I've started doing this, and so far it's been successful for me. I think it's worth sharing, and that is when you're looking on Amazon, look at the item that you're planning to buy, and scroll down and have a look at the reviews. Now, you'll find them all listed in categories. You're like the 5-star, the 4-star, 3-star, 2-star. Ignore the 5s and the 4s and start with the 3s. You can just click those and it'll bring up a list of 3-star reviews. Click the 2, list of 2-star reviews, etc. Read these reviews and see if they appear to be realistic, and more importantly, if they've been given a low score for something that appears to be quite trivial. I find that people that give are solely disappointed by a very small aspect of things, of something, then you can be more or less certain that the actual item is pretty good, and they've just been hacked off that it doesn't feature, I don't know, 3 SIM card slots.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the way to do it. Look for poor reviews that are unnecessarily low, as opposed to, inflated, unnecessarily high scores.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There was another site which I haven't used much, but I have posted 1 or 2 reviews into it, which is Fake Spot. I don't know if you ever used that.
Oh yes, Fake Spot, of course.
Yeah, which is really handy. I've only used it a few times, and it was one of those times where it was an overly glowing review, and it came back and it said, this poster has a reputation for posting this exact same sort of review, and then you can see, hold on a minute, this single account is posting reviews on however many products, and you think, well, this person's either a multi-millionaire spending their time on Amazon, or someone who's got a different agenda going on. So websites like Fake Spot, and there's a few others around as well, but they're really good at weeding out these fake reviews. Like Christian said as well, go through them and find the ones that read realistically as well. It's tricky. I always used to look for the ones with grammatical mistakes. Did you ever do that? Because it felt like they were a bit more realistic. But you think you caught onto that a bit more?
If they feel colloquial language.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Something that just feels real. Something that reads like the way someone would talk.
Yeah.
Something's a bit conversational, yeah.
Yeah, a bit more natural. Yeah, it's tricky. It is very tricky.
Okay. We're going to move on. Just head over to the chat room for a moment next to the YouTube feed. And hello to everyone who's watching. If anyone's got any questions, by all means, fire them our way. And if we can't answer them right away, then it's certainly something we'll do for the next podcast. Sophie Chai says she's entered multiple giveaways, but never have I ever won anything from MakeUseOf.com. Sorry to hear that. Obviously, we're the Really Useful podcast. Although we're being hosted by MakeUseOf.com, we don't have any influence over who wins the giveaways. Although I can tell you, lots of people win giveaways because my local postmistress will tell you how many times I go down there with ridiculously large parcels and pay ridiculously large postage fees to send things to people around Europe and North America.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah. It's the downside of doing a great video review is that you then have to go out and post it to someone.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a headache.
You never get to keep anything.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realise.
Yeah.
What about that guy?
Tiny violin playing. Can you hear it?
Yeah. I was saying about the guy a few years back who set up his Twitter bot and entered, what was it, like 500,000 Twitter competitions, and
right.
He won something every day. Most of it was absolute rubbish, but he won bottles of champagne and this and that, and was a good way of doing it if you've got the
Yeah,
time.
totally. Yeah, not to be sniffed at.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're now usually on the Really Useful podcast we kind of do 2 or 3 tutorial type things, but we're live and visual, and we don't necessarily have the preparation for what you would call hands-on stuff. We'd probably need an extra camera and stuff to do that and edit it together and pre-record it. We're live, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at some tech after this item, some useful tech. But first, most people use an Android phone or an Android tablet. Some people use Android in other forms. You might have an Amazon tablet as well. Now, all of these devices, unless they're like 64 gigabytes or higher, are prone to run out of space quite early on and leave you feeling quite frustrated. There are various ways you can deal with this. One of the main, and if I can just reach over here. Oh, there it is. There it is. Here it is. The best way of getting more space on an Android device is with one of these, which is a micro SD card. This one is 16 gigabytes, so it's not massive. It's actually being bought for another purpose, but it's a good example. Mm-hmm. And it's a micro SD HC1, so it's a 10 rated card, so it's really fast data exchange on that and good error correction. Now, low budget devices are the biggest culprits here, when they're like 16 gigabytes of storage, or even 8 gigabytes of storage in the case of some of the Amazon Fire tablets, very low budget tablets. You're going to run out of space almost immediately. But with one of those and the right settings when you first insert the card, you can make sure that, I'm not going to say it's not going to run out of space, but you're going to do the utmost. You're prepared for running out of space on the internal memory, on the internal storage, by having that additional storage. Once you insert that card, you'll get the option to format it, and in some cases, and then to have your apps moved over and to install all future apps that you install onto the card rather than internally. And that's a massive benefit when you've just got a device with 8 gigabytes of storage or 16 gigabytes of storage. Or if you do a lot of videoing and photographs, 32 gigabytes of storage can also run out quickly. Gavin, is this a problem you've faced yourself?
God, yeah. I was actually, when we were doing the show notes, I was remembering my first Amazon phone, which was Android phone, sorry, which was the HTC Desire back in 2010.
Wow.
And that came with 4 gig, maybe. There you go. It supports up to 32 gig. But the internal storage was absolutely nothing, and it was a HTC device. So HTC's version of Android is just absolutely full of bloatware. And it was, back in the day, so it was Android 2.1. So the bloatware took up so much, it made it horrifically slow. And that was definitely a huge, huge problem back then. So I used an app back then, and it was called App2SD.
Yeah, I remember that,
yeah. Yeah, which I've just got here is now called App Manager 3, which, looking at its listing, it's still going great guns, actually. It's 4-star. It's got 400,000.
Right. I mean, the features that brings is now built into Android, so it's pretty much unnecessary as moving
exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. Android, Google finally started to integrate all of those features, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's the important thing as well, that they've recognised that the system wasn't perfect and they've improved it over the years. And I've found, I've used, I don't even want to think about the number of Android devices I've used. I'm on my 4th tablet that I can think of, 4th Android tablet, and I am actually. I will be looking at this in a moment. Actually, this comes with 64 gigabytes of storage, so I haven't even bothered to put the storage card out of my previous tablet into this one yet. Firstly, because I'm concerned that I'll lose the apps. I'll just have to install them again anyway, so it doesn't seem like there's massive need to do it. But also because I don't see it running out of space anytime soon. Having said that, it's I've probably lost the thread of where I was going with that. But, generally speaking, there are various tips and tricks that you can use to minimize, you can clear the cache of apps as well, and that'll give you more storage. Now, very specifically with the Amazon Fire ones and the other low spec tablets and phones as well, they are going to run out of space very quickly, and deleting the cache of an app or deleting the entire app itself, really, if you're not using it. And it kind of does tend to be games and movies that fill up devices. So delete the movie when you finish watching it. If you buy it through Google Play, you still can watch it. So I'm not going to say own it, because as we've seen from Apple recently, that's probably not necessarily the case. Or I guess you've got a license to watch it for as long as we say so. So just getting back on track there, because I've completely thrown it, is delete stuff on your low spec devices. It's your only options to delete stuff, unless you've got an SD card slot that you can fill with a reasonable sized SD card. And it's pretty much where it is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily as well, the price of quite a large SD card is dropped significantly in the last few years, and you can pick up an 128 gig class 10 super fast one, like you were saying. You can get them on deals now for 20 quid,
which is insane, really, isn't it? If you think
$35 odd, is that? It's absolutely crazy. And like we were saying as well, Android is now extremely easy to do it on. You head to your settings, apps and notifications, app info, and there's a button, and you click it, and it does the job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Some good suggestions coming in the chat there. So thank you to all of you. I would mention you all by name, but I don't want to get the podcast banned from iTunes for saying the name of one of you. So our essay, biscuits and wine. Thank you. Seriously though, good suggestion. And actually, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a quick screen print so I don't forget that. Because everything's going on in my head with this podcast. So hello to everyone who's watching us live, and hello to you, listener of the Really Useful Podcast, who's listening to us through your usual podcasting device, whether you're on iTunes or Spotify, listening to us on the phone, through a TV set. Do people do that? Do people listen to podcasts through the TVs?
If you've got a smart TV?
I don't know. You can, can't you? Surely. You can, but do you?
Well, I personally wouldn't, but
no, yeah, same here. Obviously, take Kodi devices. There's various podcasts available through Kodi, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility.
I'm saying that, to be honest, in the daytime I probably would. I think it's more the evening time. I can't imagine, necessarily sitting down and looking at our, admittedly wonderful faces on a massive 55-inch, ultra HD.
You put everything in perspective for me now.
That's why I went for the moonlighting in case
deal with the blemishes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Shout out. Yeah, totally. Okay, listen, we're going to move on to some kind of a visual item now. It's got nothing to do with the wine rack above. Okay, just keep that clear. That's staying where it is. It's nothing to do with the VW camper van either. Actually, I'm going to let Gavin go first, because I feel that mine's probably more of a big hitter than yours is.
I think it is. Yeah, but it was things that are vital to productivity.
Yes.
And I like to get out of the house and work quite a lot, and go around to different cafes and go and sit down by the sea. I live next to the sea, so going to do things like that is quite nice. So
hold on a minute. Hold on. Before we go any further, can you actually? Is the weather nice enough where you live to actually sit outdoors and work near the sea?
Well, it was, for a week back in June.
Wow. Okay. Because I live in the sea as well, and if I go anywhere near a beach, I'm going to be concerned about sand getting in my gear.
Yeah. I don't sit actually on the beach. I sit kind of like raised way above it, with it in view. And Yeah, but vital to working outdoors is having a suitable battery. So
Okay.
I have a Life Power A2L, and it's significant in that it has AC output. It can output 230 volts for a maximum of 120 watts, which for a portable battery is pretty good. If you go any bigger than that, you're going to be looking at kind of lugging it along with a handle and maybe thinking about starting cars with it and things like that. So,
Okay, so is that going to charge your laptop?
it keeps my laptop going for 6 to 8 hours at a go.
That's not bad.
And that's continuous use.
Right.
And then when the battery runs out, obviously you get your full laptop battery as well. I've taken it camping a few times, and whilst we were camping, I got about 40 phone charges out of it, various people that we were camping with. So our tent was completely filled with mobile phones and cables across the floor. But having something like, a battery, it doesn't have to be an absolute whopper like that. And it actually very much comes down to the laptop you have. So I've got a 17.5-inch laptop with a pretty powerful graphics card in it. Even when you turn the graphics card off, it still uses a fair amount of battery. So it requires an AC power connection, and there's not that many that you can do that with. So the Life Power is a very, very good choice. One extra good thing about it is it's extremely rugged. It really is, and it's well worth the investment. And it really keeps that productivity going when you leave the house.
Excellent. Productivity is one of our big bywords here at the Really Useful Podcast. Now, to maybe exemplify that further, and I'm just going to move my refreshment there. I've recently got hold of a Samsung Galaxy Tab S4 because I decided that actually the laptop that I was using was too heavy to actually. It was a desktop replacement laptop, so it was getting a bit silly taking it places. Now, this is perfectly great tablet. It's got great graphics capabilities. It's the flagship tablet at the moment, and it isn't cheap. Okay, I'm not going to lead you up any garden paths. This might not work for you at all. However, it does have a really good feature. It comes with an S Pen, which is a feature that an accessory that also ships with the Galaxy Note 8 and Galaxy Note 9 phones. Now, I've just found this amazing thing. I'm a bit of a journalist. That's absolutely the wrong way of putting that, actually. I like to keep a journal. I'm a journalist. Okay, I've been keeping a regular diary. I started years and years ago writing diaries, and then they kind of fell apart and bits got lost and stuff, and I stopped doing it. But over the last few years, I started keeping a diary again. First, it was online. Then it was just in Word files. And then I thought, actually, why don't you just use paper? So I got myself a nice moleskin book and started using that. But I've just got this, and this isn't replacing the moleskin. But if I just press this button, there's a little button on the S Pen near my finger. I press that, and I tap the screen. We get a little message up there to saving notes. Then I can do this. I just absolutely love this.
Nice.
I'm in love with this tablet. I can do that, and then I'll just save in notes. There you go, and off it goes, and I can retrieve it when I can do another one. Do another one. It's fine. I can do this all day. I absolutely love this. There we go.
That's pretty uncanny, actually. Wow.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So this tablet isn't cheap, okay? But the fact that we can do this now with a tablet and pen, and the productivity for me, this is perfect because this also has another feature, which I'm just going to quickly show you, which is a new thing from Samsung. And basically, I've lost the S Pen. Basically, it does the whole Android tablet experience for this. Okay, so I'm just going to unlock it and see if it has iris unlock. So there we go. Right, it's unlocked. So typical Android tablet there. Okay. Now I also have a feature in here called Samsung DEX, which you probably can't see there, but I'll just press it. And when I do press it properly, it changes mode. Okay. Just watch that load up. And we've got a desktop environment.
Ah, brilliant. Yeah.
And that is my new laptop, basically. It's a tablet. It does all the Android stuff. I can read all my magazines, read my books, check my news sources. I can do work on it in the Android way, but I also have a desktop environment for mouse and keyboard, which is a massive boost to productivity. Absolutely. I mean, I've just shown you 3 modes this thing does, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's well worth the money. It isn't cheap by any means. However, the S Pen thing is gone. It's going to be a feature in other devices soon. It's got 4,096 points of pressure. Desktop environment is appearing in a few other Samsung products. It is not the first desktop environment for mobile devices. The Galaxy S9 does that as well. There are other ways of doing that. The Windows 10 mobile phones from HP and Microsoft's Lumia 950, they have the Continuum system, which uses wireless HDMI to connect the phone to your TV or a monitor that's HDMI ready, and you can use that straight away. This tablet does the same by HDMI as well, but you need a USB-C cable to HDMI to do that. There's also a special dock which will do it for you. Same goes for the phones. And there's also Maru OS, which is a specialist Android operating system for phones, which, when connected to a TV via wireless HDMI, does the same thing. And there's also the rarely seen these days Ubuntu Touch, which is maintained by UB Ports. Ubuntu Touch phones, which is a Linux operating system, also have a system of their own for desktop, which is called Convergence. And you can do the same thing with that. And they all work really well. They're all perfectly fine. I do think, having used all 3, I do feel that Dex is the one that might just finally break this kind of using your phone or tablet as a desktop computer paradigm into the mainstream. But that, I just love writing on my tablet. Like, it's an actual tablet. It's crazy, isn't it? I could just go on the roof and do that with a piece of chalk.
Send help, please.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, we are here for another minute or so. If anyone has any questions, just throw them at us. As mentioned, you'll be able to listen to this podcast again on iTunes, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, and all the other places in probably a few hours, because I'll be getting to work editing that together and publishing it pretty much as soon as Gavin and I have finished talking. This is the 4th really useful podcast. We started off with about 50 listeners in the first week. We're hitting 100 listeners for episode 3. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we're obviously gaining a nice little bit of momentum there. The aim, as we said, is to break down tech stuff and stop, kill the jargon. Stop doing tech stuff for tech people. Do tech stuff for real people who need to use the tech. And I haven't got the time to listen to the bull. Okay, so... And, we're going to attempt to fix everything that we can for you in that regard. However, obviously, there's only 4 of us, and we kind of need a bit of help for suggestions from you. And also, if you can share the podcast or this videocast. Do people say videocast anymore? Probably not. It's not 1950. Last time I checked, it wasn't anyway. Share what we're doing, and give it to your friends and your relatives who aren't that au fait with technology, who aren't that familiar with technology, aren't that comfortable with technology. And we're aiming to bring them and technology together in a way that's compatible for everyone. That's pretty much it, really. And make sure the technology is working for you and is productive. I mean, hey, this is the thing, right? Okay. Someone has to deal with this. Glasses, lights, webcam. What's going on there? Okay. One day someone's going to deal with this.
Maybe something to do with like Google Glass will fix it with because it had just a single quite sheer single visor, wasn't it? It wasn't a double visored thing. So maybe you'll be able to implement something like that.
Could be, yeah. Or it could be just, a case of special filters on the glasses might do it. I don't know. I'm not really an expert in optics. This may come as some surprise to you.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. The contact lenses with an overlaid HUD inside them.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
One for the future.
Definitely one for the future. But yeah, so passes around in the nicest possible sense. Share the link to the Really Useful podcast to all your friends and relatives who aren't that au fait with technology, who aren't that familiar with technology, who want more from technology. The people that you hear complaining that their phone or the tablet or the TV or the DVD player or the game console or the laptop or even, I don't know, their smart oven or smart fridge isn't working for them properly, or even the car, the features in the car, because cars are connected these days as well. Point them in our direction, and we are here for a long time, I hope, to break these things down and give people a fighting chance of getting to use the technology the way that they expected to when it was sold to them, when they bought it, the things that they were promised. We're going to help technology fulfill its promises to the average Joe. I've been Christian Cawley. Well, I am Christian Cawley. I have been Christian Cawley, and I will be for some time to come. That's Gavin Phillips, my colleague from makeuseof.com. And that's all from this live, really useful podcast, courtesy of makeuseof.com. Big thanks to the Make Use Of team for letting us use their YouTube channel. You can follow us by subscribing to us on iTunes. You'll find the link below the video feed here. And also, please follow us here on YouTube as well, because we're going to be doing some more. We're going to be publishing our podcasts as videos, and we're going to maybe squeeze some smaller videos in there as well. But if you subscribe to us via the link just there in the show notes, just down there, just scroll down a little bit. So you can subscribe to the Really Useful podcast on YouTube. Follow the link there, hit subscribe, and you will find out when we release a new video on here. And, if you like listening on earphones to podcasts, who doesn't, head to iTunes and subscribe to us there. And if you could also leave us a review, that would be awesome. Totes awesome, as the kids apparently say.
At the end of the video casts.
Thank you all very much for watching live. And to the listener, thank you. Until next time, it's goodbye.